greatest moment in sim racing I've ever had.
Ty Higginbottom is your 5th annual GTR 250 champion. The 17 will win 2 weeks in a row. Rookie Jordan Kalinian, first career win in the NASCAR Series. Jared Ireland well on his way to the checkered flag. Adam Wilson victorious at Dover. Andy Hurdle first career win in the NASCAR Series. C.D. Mangrum to the checkered flag wins the Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue 175. This win is going to punch his ticket to the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup Playoffs. Charlie Sears wins at Monza. Who is it going to be? Contact to the line! Kalinian gets turned. C.D. Mangrum wins at Indianapolis. What a finish! Ladies and gentlemen, it's what you've all been waiting for all this time. We're 15 races down here in Season 5 of the Canadian E-Motorsports Network NASCAR Series, powered by Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue. After what was a wild regular season with tons of driver parity, plenty of competition, especially at several tracks that we had never visited, at least within the iRacing era. A couple tracks that we didn't even visit at all throughout the whole network history. Finally, we have arrived at the time that, again, everybody has been long awaiting. It is the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup Playoffs that begin here tonight for the first race of the round of 12. 12 drivers, 7 races, 4 rounds, and 1 champion. Good evening, folks, and welcome aboard another live production of Canadian E-Motorsports Network action on iRacing. It is the Rampage Coffee Co 200 at Darlington Raceway, round 16 of 22, and of course, round 1 of the 7-race 5th annual Earl Ross Cup Playoffs. On the call here tonight, as per usual, starting off from Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island, New Have, the man that you're hearing right now. It is Regan McCauley, of course, been here since Season 3. First started, of course, the play-by-play last year. On the other side, he's been here since the very beginning of the network, back at it for now his 5th playoffs in the commentary booth. It is Jordy Kerher from the other side of the country in Alberta, Canada, which, Jordy, judging by what I've seen behind the scenes, I can safely assume that you're back home.
Not yet. This is my last
week. Oh, you're not? Okay.
On the island. Next week, I'm back in the regular setup.
Okay, so that'll be a Watkins Glen. So Jordy's still here on the island with his little vacation. But yes, what I just said will actually be very valid next week at Watkins Glen. But anyways, unfortunately, we don't have a camera on one of our ends. So that's why we have this in the ticker.
I mean, that almost fits better, doesn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. But anyways, Jordy, as we... rather than getting our faces, at least for the time being, might as well get some of the scenery of the beautiful, iconic, prestigious, vintage, any other word you could think of, Darlington Raceway, the track too tough to tame in Darlington, South Carolina, where we will begin the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup Playoffs. Man, oh man, Jordy, what a ride it's been here through Season 5. The regular season that we just had, by far the best that we've seen in the network's history and NASCAR Series history, especially for your 5 years here within the networks, and you've been here since the very beginning. Just talk about what your perspective has been throughout, again, the 15 consecutive weeks that we had. Of course, we just had the off week. We definitely all needed that, but now we're back at here, fresh, a fresh reset, ready to go for 7 consecutive weeks of... how would you describe it? Yeah, mayhem. There you go. But go on.
Yeah. So obviously there's been an evolution since this thing started back in 2020. Yeah, you could look at Season 1 with, I think, 9 winners in that regular season as well, compared to the same 9 number in this one. But again, as the kids say, there are levels to this. And from where we were way back then to now, it speaks to kind of, it's a better demonstration of the overall competition all the way down the field, quite honestly. And you kind of said it off the top. The regular season's easily been the best and most competitive that we've had to this point. And I think the fact that we shrunk the playoff field down to 12 from 16 really helped that as well. And yeah, looking forward to seeing what the end result here is. And, you know, we didn't exactly make it easy off the hop here, did we?
No, not even close. Kind of the ironic thing that we've been everybody's been talking about behind the scenes is that we're starting the playoffs with some of the tougher circuits. And if drivers want to, have things a little bit easier, quote unquote, they'll have to wait until the finale at Homestead, Miami. Because again, we got Darlington, Watkins Glen here for the round of 12. I might as well just put up the schedule. They'll make more sense. Yeah. Darlington and Watkins Glen to start off the first round. Second round, you got Bristol and Talladega, short track at Super Speedway. And then third round, you got the Chicago Street Course for the first time in network history, a return to Auto Club. Remember the Dart Series finished last year? And then Homestead, Miami to conclude it all off on August 20th, where 4 drivers will do battle with the top finishing driver of the 4 being crowned the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup champion.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of made the comparison a couple of weeks ago. The regular season, it's like the kind of semi-flat stages that you get in the Tour de France. Now we're getting into the mountains. This is where, it's pretty much just survive and keep going for the drivers who are still left standing here in the competition for the aforementioned Earl Ross Cup. And as you say, it kind of starts off hard. Then, you kind of earn your right to get to Auto Club and Homestead, Miami there at the end. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see who kind of takes this, war of attrition's a little bit overused, but I think it applies nicely here.
Absolutely. Before we eventually unveil the cars and stars of the Canadian Motorsports Network NASCAR Series that will participate in the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup Playoffs, might as well go back to 2 weeks ago. I was about to say last week, but it was 2 weeks ago. Excuse the off week that we just had. Of course, Jordan Kalinian getting the win back at Rockingham Speedway, the Deluxe of London 200, our annual throwback race in late June of 2024. Kalinian scoring his 4th win of the season, and he really had to fight for in the closing laps because, man, oh man, Justin Belmonte was just a couple laps away from possibly upsetting the playoff picture. He was leading the way. He led many laps in the Deluxe of London 200, but at the very end, Jordan Kalinian just had the better tires, just had that better racecraft, and was able to get by him in the final couple of laps and was able to unfortunately, in heartbreaking circumstances, caused Belmonte to miss the playoffs as he had a series of absences for several weeks, a couple weeks before the Rockingham race. So very tragic right there. Again, Kalinian coming into the playoffs as the top driver in points by only 1 point, as a matter of fact. But of course, it just had to come in heartbreaking circumstances for someone else.
Yeah, I mean, Belmonte, you say, led some laps. It was pretty much the entirety of stage 3, the way that he was going. And again, we talked so much about the fact that he won 3 races last year when we made the move to iRacing. So it felt like it was kind of a matter of time, but ultimately, as you say, those final few laps, it just didn't materialize for him. And yeah, kind of a crushing second place, but I have to admit, in the post-race chat, the man took it in stride. He did everything he could to get there. Just, ultimately, couple laps short.
And for the annual throwback race, where again we saw some incredible vintage liveries driven by the cars and stars of the Canadian eMotorsports Network NASCAR Series, powered by Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue, which obviously shout out to Ty Higginbottom. His number 97 Toyota ended up winning the throwback vote that we revealed on our social media pages. The drivers doing a little bit of a vote together to vote on what was originally supposed to be the top 3 best schemes, but we ended up doing the top 5 plus an honorable mention just because there were just so many ties all over the place. But yeah, again, vintage liveries, and the race itself even turned out to be quite the race of attrition. It had vintage vibes from the visuals to the race itself.
Yeah, I mean, not having the formal stage breaks that we've had in all the other races certainly contributed. to that as well. And yeah, it kind of forced guys to make more decisions on the fly. And honestly, I don't mind that at all.
Indeed so. Now we take a quick glance here at the driver's standings. At least this was after Rockingham. Obviously, they reset with all the playoff drivers to where we have a spreadsheet on all that. I kind of forgot to make up a graphic of that, but we will have that in better detail once tonight's race comes to an end, and in the coming days we do proceed with updates and such. But of course, Jordan Kalinian at the top of the board with the most wins on the season. But as a matter of fact, Kalinian obviously entering the playoffs as the top driver in points, but in terms of the regular season championship, Corin McCauley getting the job done by just 5 points. Man, oh man, in the final couple of weeks, it was a wicked battle between him, Kalinian, and CD Mangrum for the championship. All three drivers swapped the lead for a couple of weeks, but it ended up being McCauley coming out on top. It was his second straight regular season championship. So again, after the heartbreak we saw last year out of the number 17 Chevrolet in the championship finale at Homestead Miami Speedway, hopefully the momentum might be a little bit better this time around for the driver who won 3 races and claimed 6 poles.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously we see him rocking the vintage Earl Ross livery here. Clearly we know what his intentions are, and coming so close last year, ultimately one key mistake in that final race did him in there, but we'll have to see if he's able to kind of atone for that later on. But in the meantime, I think Reegs, you may want to check on a particular technical update here in the background.
I am in the process of doing just that. I'm being very quick.
Perfect. Yeah. So for those at home, we're just making sure that we've got all the impressive details, quite frankly, that iRacing can offer from, these classic, renders of all these tracks, all these laser scans, what have you. Just making sure we can do it all the proper justice, essentially. So yes, just doing a little bit of a technical update here as we, officially unveil our 12 who are still standing in the chase for the aforementioned Earl Ross Cup.
You can keep going on about that. I'm still dealing with this technical stuff.
All right, yeah. I wasn't sure if I was stopping or getting back into the kind of formal play-by-play portion of things, but obviously very competitive field here. We've got 2 past champions in the form of Darcy Ford and Ty Higginbotham in the field. Again, we talked about it a little bit earlier. 9 different winners over the course of the regular season, and let's just see, Mike Marini back in the playoffs. That is his 4th playoff appearance in 5 seasons, and Jose Mercado back in the playoff picture as well after missing out last year himself. And again, 9 winners. The 3 who didn't, it felt like they were competitive at different times as well. Mentioned Mike Marini having a couple of top 5s, 7 top 10s, as it shows in the graphic. Jose Mercado's been in contention. A couple of strategy things kept him ultimately from winning a race. Ditto with Kyle Knoll. He really came on in the second half of the season, knowing that he really had to get those performances up in order to maintain one of those last playoff spots. And, full credit to the 15. He was able to work his way up to 11th when it came to the end of the regular season. Actually, he would have been top 10 because I think he got an additional bonus point with Jared Ireland being a little bit lower on the regular season point total. But of course, the win at Kansas was what ultimately locked him in, despite just having the 12 starts compared to the 15 that the rest of your playoff field has. So a lot to look out for. And of course, worth mentioning here, all 3 Tornado Alley E-Racing guys very much in the picture here in the form of CD Mangrum, Adam Wilson, and season 3 champion Ty Higginbotham. So lots of different storylines to watch out for. Of course, 2 races in each round instead of your standard 3 in real life. So, things are just going to happen fast and furious here, Reegs. I don't know if you're ready to go there again, but I know I'm certainly ready for the playoffs to get started.
I think we are good. There are red stripes
now.
now.
Look at that. There we go.
We're good. We're good.
You know, a little bit of transparency never hurts, right?
Exactly. It's those tiny little details.
Yep.
But yeah, going back to this very quickly, I mean, yeah, again, 12 drivers instead of 16. Of course, the decision to decrease the number of drivers involved in the playoffs was, well, Jason Butler put it certainly in a very fair fashion that 16 drivers last year, especially only having like 23, 24-ish or so on average, just too many spots. We had to kind of condense it down to about only half the grid, which certainly made a lot more sense. And quite frankly, it just intensifies the competition that we have here within the Canadian eMotorsports network. And again, the 12 names that you see on here, there's just so much success between each and every one of them. You got 3 first-year drivers, a couple of drivers that swap in between years 2, 3, and 4. You got a couple fifth-year drivers in there, guys that are really still going at it here. And again, have been here since the very beginning. So again, it's like you said. You said it perfectly. I've been waiting for this. You've been waiting for this. We've all been waiting for this. Now is the time for the cars and stars of the Canadian Motorsports Network NASCAR Series, powered by Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue, to shine in the spotlight. And now the cars have lined up here on the front straightaway at the virtual Darlington Raceway. In just a little bit, gonna go into race control and send these guys a quick message. Fire these engines up to go racing for 5th annual Earl Ross Cup Playoff action. It's the Rampage Coffee Co 200 at Darlington Raceway. The Lady in Black, the track too tough to tame. First race of the round of 12. Stay tuned. There you have it. The engines have been fired up here to get this first race of the round of 12 underway. And now we will introduce those that will go for glory here in tonight's event. Starting on the front row, we're there's no surprises here whatsoever. It is the number 0 Toyota from Salisbury, North Carolina, starting on pole. It's the number 0 of Jordan Kalinian. Alongside him, the driver 1 point behind him currently in playoff points, the number 17 Chevrolet from Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island. It is Corbin Macaulay. Moving on now to row number 2, where we have the number 6 Ford of Justin Belmonte from Pachigo, New York. tragically did not make the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup Playoffs, but still will try to go for glory in the Best of the Rest Challenge. And alongside him, starting in 4th, the number 21 Tornado Alley E-Racing Toyota of first-year driver Adam Wilson.
All right, we move ahead, rounding out the top 5. Another guy who was trying to play spoiler a couple weeks ago, the number 4 Chevy of Mason Tomlinson out of Eudora, Kansas. And we stay in Eudora, where we find the number 13 Boot Hill Casino Chevy of Jared Ireland, very much in the playoff picture. He starts 6th. On to row 4, where 2 more playoff drivers, the number 32 499 E-Racing or 499 Motorsports, I believe, Chevy of Charlie Sears out of Charlottesville, Virginia, will start in 7th. And he's got number 7 for company on his outside. The 519 E-Racing Chevy of Andy Hurdle out of Dayton, Ohio, will start 8th.
And now running at the top 10, where we have yet again a couple more playoff drivers here. The number 41 Ford from Kissimmee, Florida, it is Jose Mercado. Alongside him is your 2021 Series champion, the number 64 Chevrolet out of Harrington, Prince Edward Island. It is Darcy Ford. Just outside the top 10, where we have the number 12 Toyota from Thunder Bay, Ontario, it is Mike Marini. Alongside him will be the number 9 Toyota driving for Koopa's Racing from Altoona, Wisconsin. It is first-year driver Jason Heaney. He will be looking for the Best of the Rest Challenge Cup.
And we move along to row 7, where we've got a couple more playoff drivers here. The number 15 Storm Surge Esports Toyota of Kyle Knoll out of Wendell, North Carolina, will start in 13th. And he's currently 1 point back of Jose Mercado on the playoff bubble. One guy a little further up the standings, the number 97 Tornado Alley E-Racing Toyota of Ty Higginbotham, now racing out of Kansas City, Missouri. He took the monorail from North Carolina again. He starts 14th tonight. And on to row 8, where we've got the number 93 Chevy of Tom Janikowski out of Appleton, Wisconsin, starting 15th, and maybe a little bit of a surprise further down the field. The number 1 Tornado Alley E-Racing, Toyota of CD Mangrum. The man from ATL starts 16th.
Yikes indeed, but still, we're just getting started here with tonight's event, so plenty of time for him to try and hopefully get back up to the front. Row 9 has the number 10 Chevrolet out of London, Ontario. It is Jason Butler. Alongside him is Koopa's Racing owner, driving the number 80 Toyota. It is Mark Ouellette out of Ontario. And to round it all out, where we have the number 33 Toyota first-year driver Trevor Binns, driving also for Koopa's Racing from Winter Haven, Florida. And so the pace car will roll off onto pit road, grab some Rampage coffee, some Kyle's fried chicken and barbecue, and get up on your feet, because it is playoff time here in the Canadian Motorsports Network NASCAR Series. Green flag in the air for the Rampage Coffee Co. 200 at Darlington.
And someone going Ghostbusters there on that outside line, whoever was starting 4th. Would that have been... not Darcy Ford. Belmonte was starting 3rd. But yeah, you see a big gap there. There is a car there. Just don't know who it is. Wilson, that's who it is.
Jordan Kalinian with the lead through turns 3 and 4. Macaulay right on his rear bumper coming off of 4. Kalinian will lead the first lap of tonight's race. Looks like everybody has come through so far, so good.
Yeah, and 7 out of 15 race wins went to our guys who are on the front row tonight, or were on the front row. So, yeah, not especially surprising to see them trying to pull a gap here very early on.
And so here for a very quick race analysis here. It's 183 laps, 200 miles. Stages 1 and 2 are 57 laps each. Final stage is... say it.
Is it the nice number? Again, I'm in potato vision here.
Yes,
so
yes, 69.
I had to do the math.
Final stage is 69 laps. Pit road speed is 45 miles per hour. Fuel window is about 30 to 34 laps-ish. Our estimates tend to be off by just a little bit, but around then, we'll see how things shape out. Of course, for green flag pit windows. Again, of course, though, cautions could easily happen here. Again, this is our first time at the virtual Darlington Raceway within the iRacing era. Of course, our first time here in Network series history since 2022 when Ty Higginbottom got the win in the throwback race driving a Jeff Gordon DuPont car, if my memory serves correctly.
Yeah, last year was indeed the throwback race. I just want to look into something, though, in the background while you take this first bit of the action here, because I just kind of thought of something.
Oh?
Anyway, you keep going. I'll let you know if I can confirm what I'm thinking or not.
Okay. But yeah, as I was talking about right there, again, of course, the Darlington Raceway, 1.3 miles, 2.1 kilometers in length, an egg-shaped oval in Darlington, South Carolina. Plenty of nicknames. Opened in 1950. Since then, it's hosted the prestigious Crown Jewel Southern 500, by far one of the oldest and most challenging tracks on the NASCAR circuit. Its egg-shaped design is due to a minnow pond, hopefully I'm saying that correctly, on one end of the track that the owner refused to relocate, so that's why we have such a narrow and asymmetrical design that is physically demanding to all drivers that attempt to conquer the Lady in Black. And because of how difficult both ends of the track are, in terms of turns 1 and 2 and then turns 3 and 4, it is really hard to try and have a balanced setup for races at Darlington Raceway, especially at the next gen. Look at that dive right there from the 32 of Charlie Sears, looking to make his way up towards the front, past Mason Tomlinson, still hanging on to that throwback livery he had 2 weeks ago, the Dale Earnhardt GM Goodwrench Chevrolet. Jared Ireland to his inside, looking to make strides as well.
Indeed so, and yeah, I was able to go back and confirm. I'm sure this probably would have come up later anyway, but yeah, you mentioned obviously we didn't do Darlington last year, but did it in 3 seasons before, and...
Whoa! Contact! In the walls, Tomlinson.
I was going to say, seeing an Earnhardt livery into the wall at Darlington doesn't feel... Well, I guess it kind of does feel right in a way, but that's for pushing. And we stay green.
Automatically goes to pit road, so we're definitely going to have to take a look there at what just happened to the number 4. Looks like Jose Mercado trying to dive underneath. Oh, yeah, slides up. Tomlinson into the wall. Getting that Darlington stripe, which they say that if you don't get the Darlington stripe, you're not racing hard enough. But for a situation like this, not ideal.
The badge of honor came a little bit too early there, I would have to think.
Yeah. But
yeah, anyway, no, go ahead.
But it looks as though because of that, maybe, Charlie Sears has made his way up to the 4th position.
Yeah, Sears was kind of just making his way past Tomlinson at that point, if I recall, or not too long before. I think that was who he made that dive on the straight. Indeed
so, and might as well point this out. Obviously, on the car right there, you can see the blue windshield, and the spoilers on a bunch of these cars are also blue as well. That indicates that those drivers are in the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup Playoffs, and that also applies to the blue numbers that you see here on the scoreboard ticker. So every number that's blue, that's a playoff driver.
And all that blue is courtesy of our title sponsor, Kyle's Fried Chicken, of course.
Yes, sir.
Yes, and yeah, back to just to finish off what I was getting at before Tomlinson hit the wall there. Again, we've had 3 Darlington races. All 3 of the Darlington winners wound up winning the title in that respective year. Ryan Gibson, Season 1. Darcy Ford, Season 2. Ty Higginbotham, Season 3.
Jesus, just like Iowa.
And something's got to give, right?
And would you look at these strides, too? We were talking about C.D. Magrum having qualified all the way back in 16th. He's made his way up to 9th.
Yeah, and I mean, we've seen him have the talent at pretty well any track configuration over the course of the year. So not necessarily a surprise to see him moving up the field now. Just a little bit of surprise that the lap didn't quite present itself when he needed it in quali.
There's one of your past Darlington Raceway winners here within the NASCAR Series, as you talked about, Jordy. Darcy Ford makes his way into the 7th position after originally qualifying in 10th, I believe.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And again, past Darlington winner, season 2, great battle with, friend of the series for the first 2 years, Chad Hyder. Of course, we love the dude. He's kind of moved on from the sim racing side of things, but that's still our guy there. But yeah, ultimately it was Darcy who took the win that night. And as I mentioned, it was on his way to his Earl Ross Cup victory a few weeks later.
So, of course, with 19 drivers here in tonight's race, 12 of them in the playoffs, and then seven of the other guys going for the victory in the best of the rest challenge, of course, which, of course, playoffs, self-explanatory, good old playoff format right there as like real-life NASCAR, but, of course, with some changes that have been mentioned. But with the best of the rest challenge, it's basically the Winston Cup Series format. All the points of all the drivers that finished 13th and backwards after the regular season finale, all their points reset, and from every race from here on out for the next these 7 consecutive weeks, including tonight, all total points will be added up per race. Driver with the most points at Homestead Miami, crowned champion.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's nice to have something for those guys to fight for, because obviously they've been committed throughout the 15 weeks as well, and it's hard to come week in and week out when you're not fighting for the top prize, so to speak. But, the overall competition that we've had throughout the field, that should make for some good racing through the pack as well.
Yeah, again, we got in this first round here, of course, we got the playoffs. We got the best of the rest challenge. But the other thing is, too, though, we also got something special that we announced back in April from Rampage Coffee Co. Whoa, okay, Charlie Sears had a very loose moment there off the corner. I thought they were about to go 3 wide. Jose Mercado taking advantage of that misfortune. He will make his way up to 4th. Justin Belmonte gets past Sears as well. And, again, you got the top 3 where you could probably put a blanket over them. And then 4th through 7th is a battle going on. There's a couple different packs here that are going at it. A bunch of guys here tonight just looking to at least not have any drama or anything like that to look forward to at Watkins Glen next week. Just at least try to lock themselves into the round of 10 races at Bristol and Talladega, of course. But what I was saying there about Rampage Coffee is that back in April we announced that they have offered a free coffee bundle to a certain driver that if they fulfill certain criteria for tonight and next week's race at Watkins Glen, they're taking home some free coffee.
Yeah, and again, another kind of incentivized thing once we realized that Rampage was sponsoring both rounds of the round of 12, just a little bit of added initiative, and Rampage naturally was all for it. Is that Tomlinson?
Yeah, Tomlinson.
Yeah, it is.
Tomlinson has just come off a pit road. He's 12 laps down, but it's great to have that incentive, kind of a contingency sort of a thing-ish. But the way it works is that the top 10 finishers in tonight's race will be automatically eligible at Watkins Glen to earn that bundle, and then at Watkins Glen, the best finishing driver of those 10 drivers will go on and win the free coffee bundle. So, again, there's a couple different things to kind of go for here in the round of 12 of the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup Playoffs, as you definitely saw it there in turns 1 and 2. You got a couple of the leaders there getting some Darlington stripes.
You did, and I mean, it's kind of a shame in Jordan Kalinian's case because he's rocking a brand new livery this week. I believe Kyle Knoll put that together for him, if I recall.
Yes, sir.
Or was it Jason Butler?
I believe it was Knoll.
I think it was as well, but yeah, debuting that this week as well after, the kind of glitch situation we had last week. The throwback did show up in the later photos, but not during the actual race itself.
Tragic, but hey, we got the photos.
We did, and now, Kalinian going all new here for the playoffs, and we'll see again, he's got the Darlington stripe on there now, as you mentioned. But yeah, we'll have to see if the fresh coat of paint leads to anything different. Hopefully not too much different in his case. Obviously, the 4 regular season wins. We want to keep that momentum up as best he could. That is
Jason Butler.
Okay. Well, first of all, I wasn't sure if he was going to be racing tonight, but great to see him, first of all. But yeah, he'd be the first one on kind of a quote-unquote regular pit stop here, I would think.
Well, yeah, as I did mention earlier, the fuel window is about 30 to 34 laps, so maybe Butler is trying to take some early advantage here. Just a couple laps before the estimation.
Yeah, and I mean, it looked like he went for 4 tires there as well.
And as we're talking about that, we have a new race leader.
Indeed we do. We kind of saw the move happen in the background, but yeah, there's your regular season champ at the top of the board.
Let's get the replay here. McCauley just gets a really good run off of the final corner down the front straightaway. And gets by the number 0 veteran versus first-year driver right there. Again, we could use the term rookie, but it is very loosely used, I suppose.
I mean, just look at the I ratings. You'll know.
Exactly. It's funny. Kalinian is in his first year with us, and he has the best I rating in the whole field.
Well, I mean, that's a testament to anything he would have done before that as well. And, just kind of took everything by storm would be a bit, maybe a bit ambitious, because it did kind of take him a little bit to string together a couple of results, but you always knew the speed and consistency was there. Just a matter of, if he finished, more than likely there was a good shot of him finishing first.
That is Mark Ouellette on pit road with like half a minute already in his box.
Well, I mean, it's hard to know at this point whether it's, damage or a penalty, as we start to see a couple more peeling down. Andy Hurdle, the first of the playoff drivers, I believe, to come down.
That is correct.
And, kind of splitting the stage in half here. That's lap 29, if my eyes don't deceive me. So, roughly the halfway point of the stage. Kind of a good, litmus test of where the car is.
I believe C.D. Magram is coming down as well. I can see him dropping down the board. Kyle Knoll as well.
Yep. Possibly reacting to Andy Hurdle here. And Mike Marini, I believe, in as well.
Yep.
Yeah, so you get some reactions from, again, some of the playoff drivers a little bit further down the board. Might be just trying to cover Andy Hurdle off here, so to speak. But we'll see if coming in a little bit earlier ultimately helps their positioning, as Ford and Mercado are coming in the background.
Did Knoll only take 2 tires?
I mean...
And Magram? Huh.
It's Kyle Knoll, especially. Would you be surprised?
Yeah, that man loves to take risks.
He does. And I mean, stage 1 of round 1 of the playoffs, I kind of love it. But we'll see how much he loves it at the end of the stage.
So just getting a quick replay here just to verify. Maybe they... Okay, yeah. Knoll definitely took just... Yeah, they both... Magram and Knoll both took just 2 tires.
Okay, good eye on that. As, we got some nice scenery here as we kind of get ourselves reestablished.
Ooh, Mercado... what in the... He's over the line. What kind of visual is that?
Well, I mean, certainly not an ideal one for him, it would appear.
So I think Darcy Ford, if my eyes serve correctly, took no tires.
I mean, if you're comfortable, go for it. It'll be very interesting to see his performance in the back half of this opening stage. But I mean, in the background, saving tires was definitely a topic of discussion for the majority of today.
Kalinian also doesn't take tires.
Okay, then.
And here comes McCauley and Higginbottom.
Yeah, and well, I guess the math could potentially check out later on that you could potentially make it through stage 3 on one pit stop, but I think you're hoping for a caution and being able to stretch at that point. As we said, it was 1 lap short of 70.
McCauley took no tires. Higginbottom took 4.
Yeah, again, it might help now, but what about later when the bigger point, hauls are on the line?
There comes...
For the guys who take 4 now, I mean.
There comes Adam Wilson and Justin Belmonte. Wilson might have had a very awkward entry right there. It would not surprise me if there might be some discipline against him. Very wonky looking. Jared Ireland also in.
Yeah, I would think that's got to be the last of the playoff drivers. And so I think we saw McCauley and Kalinian in on various replays.
Yep. After these 3 guys, and of course the 2 of them playoff drivers, that's it.
Yeah, and so that'll cycle back to McCauley and Kalinian at the head of the field.
See what Wilson does. 4.
All right, again, interesting call, and especially, again, being one of the last drivers to come in. Because really, 20 laps, you wonder if at that point you just kind of stretch it and save that set for later. But if it's not comfortable, you got to go with what works.
I believe Belmonte didn't take any either.
I mean, there's a dude who's got pretty much...
Oh my gosh, we got a pack of cars.
Yikes. I didn't know we were coming to Talladega this early. Did you?
We're 3 weeks away, fellas. Oh, man. Oh,
yeah,
my
boy.
goodness. Near contact between a lot of these guys. Man, oh, man. Talladega's in 3 weeks, boys. Patience.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the top 2 have checked out as Sears tapped the wall there, I believe.
Almost loose there. Thank goodness Andy Hurdle wasn't on his left rear quarter panel.
Yeah, just...
Yeah, I think my suspicions were correct. Wilson's pit stop time was 55 seconds, and he's 1 lap down.
Yeah, there had to be something there, as you say, probably a penalty of some form.
And Sears got on the wall again. He's fallen like a rock. He's now back in 8th.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember when he pitted. Not to try and trigger anything on the leaderboard, but I'm genuinely trying to remember.
It was 7 laps ago.
Okay, so... And we believe he took the 4.
Only 8 seconds. Don't think he did.
Okay, so yeah, maybe there is a bit of an early tire issue here. I mean, geez, look at...
Higginbottom making a near 3 wide. He took 4 tires on his stop, so definitely going to collect some stage points.
You see the performance difference between those 2. Sears struggling and Higginbottom just looking like he had a rocket strap to him.
Oh, boy.
Sears into the wall again. So it's survival right now for the guys who took no tires, but it could come back to them later if they're able to hang on. So... risk reward now or later. There's a lot of strategy calls being implemented right away.
And then meanwhile, the top 2 of, as you said, it completely checked out. 6 seconds ahead of everybody else are the 17 and the 0. Wow, Kalinian got loose there for 4. But again, it's the top 2 drivers in playoff points. I mean, they're plus 39 and plus 38 at the moment. And then everybody else is like 16 or less. So, I mean, basically, if these two do get into trouble, I'd say as long as they're still able to finish the race and collect some decent points, then like they should be just fine. It's pretty much just a matter of can you get bragging rights at Darlington?
Yeah, and I mean, like, where was I going with this? Well, we said Kalinian for sure didn't take tires, I believe.
No.
Was that the case for Macaulay as well?
No, McLean. Did I just try to combine those two names?
I mean, that'd be a hell of a driver if he did. McElenian.
But yeah, no, neither of them took tires.
Okay, so like, if you're looking through the field, and again, looking at iRatings, those would be the 2 drivers you'd expect to be able to handle that situation and be able to save that extra set for later.
Meanwhile, here looking here on the YouTube chat, looks like we got almost 20 current viewers thus far, so appreciate all of you that have tuned in to tonight's Rampage Coffee Co 200 thus far here at the virtual Darlington Raceway. We have a number 22 in Bryce Fountain here in the chat. Yeah, shades of Tyler Reddick with what we saw earlier between Mercado and Tomlinson, and then we got Mark Flott cheering on CD Magram.
Yeah, sorry, I just loaded up the YouTube chat as well, so the audio was kind of double in my ears for a second. But yeah, now we're back to being good.
So the entire top 10 consists of playoff drivers.
I mean, you would hope that's the case. They've certainly earned the right to be there.
Yes.
And now, potentially interesting ramifications, because you have the 2 guys who are kind of on the bubble in Mercado and Noel running 3rd and 4th. They'll get a pretty decent haul here.
But then meanwhile, you got Mike Marini, who is currently the worst of the 12 in terms of points, being -2 behind 10th. And then Adam Wilson in 17th at 1 lap down. He currently sits 12 points above the cut line. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how things shape out towards the bottom.
And again, for those watching, I do have a slightly more complicated playoff tracker deployed and ready to go. Like, I know you've got it open there as well, Reeves, but yeah, a little bit different to what I've been doing.
Yeah, I'll happily take on the less complicated one, even though all of them are probably complicated.
Well, I mean, I even, like, the column you want, I later highlighted in yellow.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what we'll be going off of, yeah.
And so we have under 10 laps remaining here in stage 1. Macaulay continuing to lead the, my goodness, another Darlington stripe there.
Yep.
I would say at least 80% of the field has gotten a Darlington stripe.
Again, badge of honor.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, if you're not there, what are you doing?
Yeah, we had to get the stripes. Visually on the screen, and now we're seeing all the cars deciding to get some smeared on their right sides. Hopefully, none on the left sides.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a different story entirely if that happens. Meanwhile, also notable, not all playoff drivers in the top 10 anymore.
Justin Belmonte has snuck his way into the 10th position over Charlie Sears, who looks as though he's continuing to have some no tire call gremlins.
And again, it might, well, obviously it's hurting him now that he's outside the top 10. But yeah, we'll see if it comes back to him later on, if he's able to keep the front end of the car clean.
6 laps to go now here in stage 1. It's all Corbin Macaulay here looking for what would be his 11th stage win.
Yes, that checks out.
And that would tie Kalinian, who currently leads everybody with 11.
That's how it would work, yep. But yes, he's certainly looking pretty comfortable there in that 17 right about now.
So yeah, second and a half almost ahead of Kalanian. Jose Mercado really trying to make a name for himself here in that third position. But the thing is, though, do remember, Mercado took 4 tires.
He did, and yeah, I wonder if that performance gap, well, I mean, we've only got, what, 3-4 laps until the stage caution. We'll see if there's enough time for him to make a move a little bit further up.
Adam Wilson's trying to make his way through a couple cars here despite being 1 lap down. That's Jared Ireland in 7th, C.D. Magrum back there in 8th. Jose Mercado more than likely won't have enough time to try and possibly steal a stage win here. But still, though, 3rd place for him. And then you got Kyle Nolan 4th, knowing that, again, Mercado currently 10th, Nolan 11th. That's 1 point separating those two. This is going to be huge for them.
Absolutely. And, you know, it kind of levels the playing field a bit after, you know, your regular season and various bonuses were deployed. Again, they started on 2003 and 2002 respectively.
And now Sears has fallen back to, at least in terms of playoff drivers, still in the lead lap. He is now the worst car as Mike Marini has gone by him. And again, for Sears, who is currently +3 above the cut line, I mean, there is Watkins Glen next week, which he definitely will love, because, again, we've seen how he is on the road courses, and we'll see how he is on the eventual street circuit at the Chicago street course.
Mm-hmm.
But, again, though, going in, they'll having to, we won't say must-win situations. Oh, big crash!
Whoa, boy, oh boy. That's Noel. And is that Mercado up in the wall, too?
That is Mercado up in the wall, but we stay green.
Boy. Yeah.
Really?
It's shocking.
Well, that completely jinxes things for Mercado, as Corbin McCauley took the white flag for the first stage. He's going to come around and take it in very, very odd circumstances.
Yeah, I was going to say, how did Noel stay 4th and all that? Because it looked like he got hit by something as well as Mercado just disappears. But his saving grace is that it happened at pretty much the end of the stage. So whatever damage incurred, you know, that time is at least cut off a little bit on account of this stage call.
Everybody's getting into the wall to come to this stage checkered flag.
Ooh, boy.
Yeah, there it is.
Okay, so from the moment the caution flag comes out, all right, time for some tabulating.
So it was McCauley, Kalinian, Higginbottom, Knoll, Hurdle. That's top 5. Ireland, Magrum, Ford, Belmonte, and Marini is 6th through 10th.
Yeah, Marini sneaking that stage point in could be rather relevant later on.
And we'll definitely have to go back and see what the hell just happened back here. I saw it on my timing screen. Yeah, Nola caught up to Mercado. He gives him a bump there off the corner, and then Trevor Binns lap traffic.
Ooh.
Chaos.
That's, yeah, not ideal in that situation, especially at the end of the stage.
So let's get a chopper angle. Yeah, Noel with a bit of a loose moment there, but he dives underneath Mercado. And then the 41 and the 33 make contact.
Get to the chopper.
Huh.
Okay, let's see if I can do the...
And then meanwhile, everybody making their yellow flag pit stops here, which pretty much everybody, I'd imagine, going for 4 tires.
You would have to think, certainly, yeah.
But am I fair to speculate that Noel is not at fault for that one? Maybe? That one's a hard one.
I was going to say, I was honestly in the middle of my tabulations, so I couldn't 100% tell you. But, yeah, we'll have to...
Like, look at this.
Okay.
Or no, it's not that. We'll go a lap later. There we go. Or I'll go back a little more. There we go.
Okay, so yeah, we got Noel coming down. Yeah, that's a little bit weird. Obviously, he's able to avoid. Like, would that have been...
Like Noel made the dive bomb to go for the third place, and it doesn't look like contact was made. Yeah, no, contact was not made there. Mercado got on the wall, and then came down in the bins, who then went down to Noel, and then it's just a chain reaction.
Yeah, that's, very unfortunate circumstances. I was wondering initially if maybe netcode was playing a part in that, but obviously that was a very drastic sideways motion. And ultimately it does cost Jose Mercado here, as they've got some more real-time standings here after stage one. So with the stage win, Corbin McCauley now draws level with Jordan Kalinian on total points at 2050. Ty Higginbotham is at 2023, so that gap is 20. Your top 10 in the overall standings are Kalinian, McCauley, Higginbotham, Mangrum, Hurdle in 5th, Wilson in 6th, obviously missing out on stage points that time around. Jared Ireland in 7th, Kyle Noel 8th, Darcy Ford 9th. Charlie Sears is now the guy on the bubble, 2 points clear of Jose Mercado, who again missed out after that incident at the end of the stage. So yeah, Mercado 2 points back of the bubble, Marini 3 back.
See, a bit of controversy with what just happened there, that's for sure. But yeah, just very unfortunate circumstances with lap traffic right there. Noel making the dive bomb there, no contact was made, and then just a chain reaction collects a couple of cars. But with all that being said, we're going to get underway here with the second and middle stage here of tonight's race. Green flag, Jordan Kalinian leading the way.
And just taking off and doing so.
And things are... Oh, Charlie Sears hard in the wall.
Ooh.
We stay green. Yet another playoff driver in trouble, as I believe Jordy Carraher just had a technical difficulty there. But wow. Another incident, no caution. More than likely, probably because Sears didn't fully spin around. That's what I'm going to fully speculate there. We stay green, but man, oh man, that's another playoff driver in trouble here at Darlington. As you could tell there in the background, all the cars getting into the corner there just seemed like there was a bit of a checkup in one lane. And then things got tight. Somebody fell into trouble. But Jordan Kalinian here leading the way over Jared Ireland by about 0.2 or so on lap 65. So we're going to have to get a replay of what just happened there to the number 32. Go back just a little more. We're going to get a view here of the restart itself. Yeah, there's a bit of a checkup on the high side there. Yeah, Sears just got loose. Marini might have had a bit of a moment there. Maybe Sears panicked. But looks like quite simply the 32 just got loose. Getting into the corner. Tragic for the 499 Racing Chevrolet first-year driver here in the NASCAR Series. So he drops the 3 laps down, still on pit road. Jose Mercado still in his box at 10 laps down. There's Adam Wilson sliding by the 7 of Andy Hurdle for the 10th position. He's back on the lead lap and looking to get back into this one after running up as high as 3rd earlier in tonight's race. But a half a second or so separating the 0 and the 13, and it looks like Jordy is back.
I am also back, yes. Did we ultimately determine what happened with that crash? Maybe a checkup on the restart?
Yeah, there's a bit of a checkup on the high line, but then what happened with the 32, it looks like it was self-inflicted.
Okay.
I'll go back very quickly just to get you in the loop.
Yeah, the old internet decided to go old Willy Wonka on me. Yeah, just loose. I wonder, would he have taken tires during the stage caution? Because we were pretty sure he didn't during his first.
I believe he still did. I'm pretty sure I saw like a 14 or 15 second time from like everybody.
Okay, which would make sense as Mercado rejoins.
12 laps down. Sears is still in his box at 6 laps down, but it's Jordan Kalinian still leading the way.
Yeah, that's Ruffle go and yeah.
And the reason why I did notice this, but I didn't mention it due to what the incident that just happened there. The 17 of Corbin McCauley sped on pit road during that stage caution, so that dropped him to, I think, the bottom of the top 10, if my memory serves correctly. He is now up to 5th and looking to challenge Justin Belmonte here for the 4th spot on lap 70. Looking to use that high line run. Belmonte sticking it to the inside. Belmonte clears him.
Yeah, and I believe he was down as low as 11, if memory serves, as I did get to see that.
I think that was the number I'm recalling, so yeah. Something like that, but some good hard racing here between the driver who is arguably the #1 contender for the Best of the Rest challenge versus the guy that is arguably the #1 contender for the playoff championship.
Yeah, and again, these two do have a bit of history, but looks like they'll keep her clean here. Because again, racing for 2 different things, as Belmonte maintains the position for now on that high line.
Ooh boy, Mike Marini and Jason Heaney, I believe, made contact there down the backstretch. They're still going just fine. Heaney is a lap down in 12th. Marini currently sitting in the 9th spot. Still about half a second or so separating the 0 and the 13, where, again, for the number 13 of Jared Ireland, I wrote down some kind of... I went through a bunch of drivers before tonight's race just to catch some fun facts and such about each individual playoff driver, and for a guy like Ireland, like, man, oh man, for his second season here in the series compared to the stuff that we saw out of him last year, it has just been inconsistent for this guy.
Yeah, and again, being away from it for 3 weeks mid-season as well probably didn't help that, in fairness. But, ultimately he got the job done where he needed to at Kansas. But, that's why he's here, of course. If that hadn't happened, he would have missed out and Justin Belmonte would have been in. But, you got to be in it to win it, and Jared Ireland has proven when he's on, he's more than capable of winning it.
That's the thing. Just a lot of that inconsistency really came down to bad luck and just a lot of incidents and issues that just did not go in his favor one bit. But again, though, the playoffs are the time to shine. This is when the points reset. It's a good old fresh reset for all of our guys to try and find a redemption arc and such, especially for the number 13 of Jared Ireland, and him currently sitting in second there again. He's shown his flashes of brilliance. He was absolutely brilliant last season, of course, picking up multiple wins. Memory serves,
second half of the year especially.
Yes, and memory serves correctly, was it the Final Four or the round of 8?
He was Championship 4.
It was Championship 4. Okay, so yeah, that Appreciate that. Yes, he indeed did make the championship 4, only this time around he's lucky. It's kind of similar circumstances in a way to Justin Belmonte, where both of those guys were top contenders last season. This time around, Ireland got lucky that he had that win in Kansas, and then there's Belmonte, who a couple of absences unfortunately kept him out of playoff contention, as the 17 just slammed the wall right there. Still in the battle with Belmonte.
Yeah, even I think just pure attendance of one of those races, just take the green flag and not do any more, would have been enough for Belmonte to get in. The valiant comeback ultimately, as we said, fell a couple laps short last week, but there were flashes, just ultimately couldn't get it done when it was needed the most.
And again, for some of the tracks here on the playoff schedule, Ireland could certainly take advantage of them. I can think if he at least makes it to, let's say, the round of 8, maybe even the championship 4, then there's tracks like there's Auto Club in the round of 8, and then you've also got Homestead Miami as the championship finale. Like, he's the kind of guy where we really see him come out with some really good strategies, particularly on some of the intermediate tracks, some of the tracks where we really see the next gen car come out to shine.
Yeah, I mean, it's again a matter of getting there first off, though.
Yes.
He's the guy that would have benefited the most from the reset in the points. Because, again, on regular season points, I believe he was 14th or 15th.
About something like that, yes.
Yeah, outside the top 10, so didn't benefit from, that regular season bonus that the majority of the playoff drivers wound up getting. So he's got to work a little bit harder for, his spots here. But again, he's worked his way up into 7th with a third place finish in stage 1. So, things looking not too bad here for the 13 right now, it has to be said.
I would say the same, especially for our 2021 series champion here, and also a past winner here at Darlington Raceway. There's another Darlington stripe for the 64 Piping Kettle Soup Co. Chevrolet of Darcy Ford, which when I was going, again, as I said earlier, going through each individual driver in the playoffs, Ford has qualified 8th or higher in the last 4 races, and he's finished 9th or higher in 3 of the last 4. So there's been a bit of under the radar momentum out of the 64, not exactly on the same levels we saw out of him a couple seasons back. Again, the 64 still hasn't won a NASCAR Series race since 2021.
Since he won his Earl Ross Cup specifically.
Exactly, at Las Vegas.
Yep, that's of course very memorable final lap pass, as I think he just gave a little bit of a wall tap there in front of Andy Hurdle. Indeed he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, running third right now, looking pretty good.
Another one of those guys that we saw last year trying to transition to the iRacing side after having plenty of success on the console side. Had his struggles, but he has certainly made a ton of progression, especially into this current year. And you know what? I'll just come out and say it right now. This is a guy that I think could very well surprise us here in his second season within the iRacing era.
He could, but I mean, surprise might even be a little bit of a stretch. Like, the fact that he made the playoffs still last year, like, yeah, there were 16 spots, but he still made it. So that speaks to the overall racecraft that he brings to the table. So just a matter of getting more acclimated with it as much as anything else. And, the results have kind of followed. As we'll see if anyone follows Andy Hurdle into pit lane here relatively quickly.
Yeah, calculated based on the fuel window when drivers might potentially be in for the second window, and it looks as though this is around the time when we might start seeing cars coming down. It's currently lap 85. I believe it'll be lap 114 when we get to the white flag for stage 2.
Yeah, it feels like it might even be a touch early, because you'd have to think, what, 1 or 2 laps before pit lane opened during the caution?
Well, Hurdle did pit on lap 29, and then we had guys start coming in lap 30, 31, 34, 35, 36. So out of all the playoff drivers, Hurdle was still the first one.
He was. That's true. I'm just wondering, if there's... I mean, I don't think a stretch is necessarily the right thing here, but like, I'm just assuming that everyone fueled up fully during the stage caution as well. So it might be a couple laps early for the 7, unless, yeah, the fuel's lasting a little bit longer than we thought.
Well, I mean, yeah, under the stage cautions, I'd have to imagine everybody takes 4 tires and full fuel. I mean, it's pretty much the one time where you have to, because otherwise, during the green flag pit windows throughout each stage, that's when you really got to think about strategy itself. So,
yeah, I mean, off restarts, the results speak for themselves. You figure out very quickly who did what.
oh man, Tom Janikowski really gave the outside wall a whack there off of turn 2. The 17 is going to take advantage there. He is still stuck in 5th as Justin Belmonte continues to pioneer the 4th position.
Yeah, McCauley, like, he had that initial movement up the field. He's not necessarily a guy that's quote-unquote worried about his spot, but, you know, he's the guy that I think maybe would have expected a little more forward progression unless there's a little bit of a save in play here, so to speak.
There's the number 9 and Jason Heaney coming down pit road on lap 89.
Yeah,
so we'll tie Higginbottom.
So that brings us to 25 laps left in the stage, now 24 since we're on lap 90.
Math.
Yes. And weather.
We're under the lights, huh?
Hey, no complaints here.
Yeah, fair enough. Damn heat warning.
I was going to say, would it be Darlington without lights?
Nope.
Exactly.
Higginbottom decides to not take any tires as we have a ton of takers here on lap 91.
So, again, you have to remember, Higginbotham took 4 in stage 1. You had to wonder about when tire conservation was going to happen. It looks like it's here for Higgy. Thinking to later on, and, you know, it turned into a 3rd place finish for him in stage 1, I do believe, or somewhere in that realm. Yeah, 3rd is what I had for him. So ultimately that play worked then. Might sacrifice a little bit in stage 2, but we'll have to see as, you know, what iRacing pace car.
And by the looks of it, all of those guys that we just saw there on pit road on lap 91 all took 4 tires.
Yeah, well, again, that might be the inverse of what happened in stage 1, because, you know, I think there were a couple of the guys in that pack didn't take tires at their stage 1 green flag stop.
Ireland took 4 tires, judging by the 14.40 time. And so as those guys cycle out, that's going to give CD Magram the race lead.
Yeah, just kind of cycling through here at the moment. And, yeah, very quietly, Adam Wilson up to 2nd as he tries to kind of get back on level terms with everybody.
Kyle Knoll, Trevor Binns, and Mark Roulette now on pit road.
Yeah, and we'll see what strategy calls come into play here. Again, we suspected Knoll only took 2 in his first pit stop and didn't take anything there, it doesn't look like.
Nope.
Well, again, 20 laps. Track probably starting to cool down a little bit now that we're under the lights. Did someone hit the camera rig, the virtual rig?
That's what happens when cars go by. That's what happens when cars go by at blisteringly fast speeds.
Okay, fair enough. Not even our friends at TrackCams22.com are immune from that.
Okay, Trevor Binns came down pit road for a 2nd time. My speculation is that something happened.
Well, yeah, I don't think he went in just for a joyride. A drive-through, perhaps, though? Maybe. Although he was in his box.
He was in his box, so probably something speeding related there. Is here on lap 96. It's still C.D. Mangrum in the race lead. There goes Adam Wilson to pit road.
Yeah, and he's notorious for staying out longer than the rest of the field. He's usually one of the very last to pit. And it looks like that's coming to fruition here again.
Now, the thing is, that probably would have helped Wilson in the last stage had he not gotten that penalty.
Yeah, that's probably a fair assessment, honestly.
So we'll see how this plays out for the 21 if he's able to not have an issue this time. It looks like he's going to go for no tires, just fuel.
Again, 16, 17 laps, you may as well just try and hang on.
Mike Marini making his way down now, so I believe he'll be the... No, he's not the last one just yet. C.D. Mangrum. Yeah, there goes Mangrum. He's now down.
Yeah, so that'll cycle it back to Kalinian at the head of the field.
So Marini is going to take... none, I think?
And it certainly looks like it. Notably, staying out a little bit longer has gotten Adam Wilson back on the lead lap.
Potential speculation with Marini maybe fixing damage?
Perhaps. Well,
we'll check one more time. Yeah, Mangrum, what is he? Okay, yeah, Marini probably, it might have been a damage thing, or maybe there was a penalty. Who knows on that one?
Yeah, because it didn't look like anything else was happening.
So I believe this means that every playoff driver has cycled through.
I would certainly suggest that as well.
So 9 cars are left on the lead lap. Trevor Benz is 4 laps down. Ouellette is at 8. Tomlinson's at 12. Charlie Sears is at 13 laps down. Mercado's at 14. These two are back together.
In very, very different racing scenario.
Okay. All right.
Boy. Uh-oh.
Shades of Denny Hamlin, Ross Chastain.
Yeah, well, I mean...
Or Chastain and Larson might make more sense.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, we certainly saw behind the scenes Mercado was not happy with the 15. He's not letting him by.
Yeah, this will be an interesting one. Oh, there's a bump.
And then there's... all 3 of the guys from that incident are back together.
Well, it's gonna... Oh, yeah, that is...
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Okay, what are we... Okay, so Noel has finally cleared.
What is Andy Hurdle doing slow down against the wall?
And Heaney down there, too, for that matter.
On the right side.
What did we miss here, folks?
Well, hoping that if I get off these guys, then nothing happens.
Yeah.
I think we should be good. Noel finally got by Mercado. He's in 9th.
Yeah, well,
but something happened.
Panthers, yeah.
Ooh, Heaney. Yeah. Okay, we'll have to get a better angle here.
Barely missed it in the background while we were seeing everything else happening.
Hurdle in the wall. It deflects Heaney around. Yeah. The 9 barely misses the wall. Hurdle does get it back going, but he hit the outside wall hard.
Yeah, Heaney just kind of became a passenger at the end of that one.
Another playoff driver in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, again, at first War of Attrition felt strong, but I don't know that it's not justified at the moment. As hurdles in pit
man,
lane.
that's the leader, Jordan Kalinian, around Jason Heaney and Mason Tomlinson, trying to get by the lap traffic.
Oh boy. Yeah, a lot of the things happening all over the track.
So that's Jose Mercado, Charlie Sears, and Andy Hurdle. That's 3 of the 12 playoff drivers have dealt with some sort of trouble here tonight, and we still have yet to get to the end of this second stage as Kyle Knoll dives really down low there to let Kalinian by. And now he does.
Yeah, just took a little bit, but it felt academic that Kalinian was going to get him a lap down there.
And then he scrapes the wall.
Yeah, stars and Darlington stripes there as we got someone out on the back there.
Mercado diving way down low there on the back stretch. Coming to lap 108, Kalinian still leading the way. He's led 64 laps. He's led Darcy Ford laps now here in tonight's event.
Indeed he has.
Jared Ireland is just over 3.5 seconds back in second, still holding firm. Corbin McCauley in third. Justin Belmonte's still hanging on to fourth there, except the 17 eventually was able to get by him after that pit window there. Darcy Ford still hanging on inside the top 5. There's Higginbottom and Magram 6 through 7. Yeah, the Tornado Alley Racing drivers are 6 through 8th. Kyle Knoll still holding firm there in 9th after a bit of some weird stuff there with Jose Mercado, and then Mike Marini rounding out the top 10. This is going to be really interesting, especially against some of those 3 guys that have dealt with trouble. How's this going to play out for guys like, going back to this, like Sears, Ford, Knoll, and Marini? Like, how's this going to play out?
So Ford, if he's able to hold on to 5th, is in a pretty good spot for himself to be able to get some breathing room. Let's see. So currently he is 4 points above the cut line. So yeah, if he's able to grab 6 points for himself here, I say lets him breathe a little bit. Would jump Kyle Knoll as well in the standings, and just I say, as much as anything else, just lets him breathe. That's probably the biggest takeaway for him.
So now at 4 laps to go, coming to 3 to go for the number 0. Trying to collect. Again, we saw. Again, we were talking about the stage wins earlier with McCauley tying Kalinian. Now Kalinian is just going to retake the stage win lead.
Yep, he will, and notably,
that's exactly what happened at Rockingham. Sorry to interrupt. You go ahead again.
Well, I was going to say, notably, the additional playoff point, which would apply to round of 10 and round of 8 as well. So just kind of furthering that gap.
Two laps to go. 8 cars are now left on the lead lap. CD Magram, the last car. Wow, Kalinian might get him here. As Magram pops the outside wall, oh man, Magram getting aggressive trying to stay on the lead lap.
Yeah, he's not one to let it go easily, is he?
Oh man.
I mean, there's statements and then there's this, no?
Indeed, so that looks to be the white flag there for stage 2. Jordan Kalinian in the lead, looking for his 12th stage win of the season. Jared Ireland, Corbin McCauley looking to hold firm there on the podium. Looks to be so far so good. But as long as Kalinian comes around, it'll be all his. Andy Hurdle in his pit box. There's the stage checkered. Jordan Kalinian.
All right, so yeah, we can lock that one in. Another 10 points for the 0, and again, that important playoff point, which will carry forward as well.
So there'll be a couple of cars here getting to the line that will be a lap down.
Yeah, here's the first one, Mangrum.
Just waiting for the caution to come out. Waiting for the caution. There it is.
All right, so I'll be able to pause in about 10 seconds on the YouTube stream to be able to confirm my order. And there it is. All right, let's go plug in some numbers in, yeah?
So yeah, every playoff driver except for Sears, Hurdle, and Mercado finished inside the top 10. Sears was 17th, Hurdle 18th, Mercado 19th. That's 13, 16, and 17 laps down each. Or respectively, I should say.
And it certainly hurts Sears and Mercado more than it does Hurdle. The way Hurdle had kind of built himself up, especially with the fifth place in stage one, it kind of gave him a bit of a freebie, so to speak, in order, like, in case something like this did happen. So, you know, he's able to kind of wriggle off the hook here for a little bit.
So it looks as though every lead lap car is going to come down to pit road. Again, that's how the rules work. Lead lap cars are allowed to pit this time, and then everybody else will be able to come down the next time around.
Yep, yeah, okay, so let's say I'm never 100% sure if these spreadsheets work out right. Again, I did it in a slightly different format this time, but I think I've got it correct here. So, yeah, with that in mind, again, we're into the pit stops here now, as you mentioned. So, good time to go over the current standings. Kalinian at 2,060. He retakes the overall lead, 57-point gap to any kind of danger. Corbin McCauley second at 2058. Those two have separated themselves significantly. Ty Higginbotham third as we run right now, 2028. Rest of the top 10, or rest of the guys safe right now. Mangrum in fourth, Ireland fifth. Hurdle sixth, again, had the issue late in stage two. He'd already built up a little bit, so didn't hurt him quite as much. Adam Wilson seventh. Darcy Ford moves up to eighth. Kyle Knoll in ninth, but then you get to that bottom quarter of drivers. Charlie Sears now the guy on the bubble. It's a 2-point gap between both him. Well, Mercado and Marini are tied at 2003. Sears on the bubble at 2005.
So would it be fair to say that Kalinian and McCauley have locked their way on points, or are we still a little too early for that?
I mean, you could probably theoretically say that at the end of tonight's race, because obviously that's your first, significant, allotment of 40 points or 35 if you don't win. Once that's done, it would be fair to lock them in. It's, premature as of now.
Did I just technically predict that neither of them are winning?
Maybe.
Oh, no.
Go figure. The two guys who've won stages tonight are neither of them ends up winning it. Go figure.
Yeah, we came close to that, Rockingham. Very close.
That's true.
There goes Trevor Binns past the pace car there. So everybody's going to go double file here. We're going to go green here for... What does the math play out to? Looks like 62 laps to the checkered flag.
Indeed so. And that should mean, theoretically, we're looking at just the one green flag stop in this final stage.
So it's Jordan Kalinian and Corbin McCauley on the front row. Jared Ireland and Justin Belmonte Row 2, Darcy Ford, Adam Wilson. On row 3, Kalani McCauley having the stage wins here thus far tonight. We'll have to see here if one of them is going to come away, though, with the Rampage Coffee Co. 200 victory here at Darlington Raceway. Quick race summary. Only 2 cautions, just the stage cautions. 112 laps under green, 8 lead changes, 4 different leaders. Surprisingly, none of the earlier incidents resulted in automatic cautions there. But with all that being said, the third and final stage is underway.
And go figure, Kalinian jumps out again, but McCauley won't let him off that easy.
Looks to be so far so good. Everybody getting into turns 3 and 4. The number 0 has cleared the way over the 17. We'll see if McCauley's going to get a run here, though, off of 4, right on his rear bumper on lap 122 now.
Yeah, a little bit of separation there, at least for the time being. And it looks like maybe that chase pack is getting back into single file, as I think Mangrum might have touched in the back out of turn 2.
Yeah, he's currently in the 8th position, so the lap car, Mason Tomlinson, is going to try to get by him. Nope, Mangrum was not going to allow that. He gets easily by him anyways. As I said, though, Tomlinson many laps down, so that doesn't affect Mangrum whatsoever, but Kalini and McCauley still continuing to lead the way, as Belmonte has jumped up to the 3rd position. Ireland has fallen back to 4th. Adam Wilson looking to make his way up.
Yeah, kind of making amends for that stage 1 penalty. And yeah, just kind of grinding his way back into the top 5. Up to P4, as a matter of fact.
And as everybody sorts themselves out here, we'd like to thank each and every one of our sponsors and partners that are with us here within the Canadian eMotorsports Network. Of course, Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue, the title sponsor of the series this season. Rampage Coffee Co., title sponsor of tonight's race and next week's race as well. Piping Kettle Soup, Forked River Brewing Company, Bangarang Hard Seltzer, Nordic Aluminum, GSG Vinyl 3D, GTR, and of course, with the cameras that you see here in every single live production of Canadian eMotorsports Network action on iRacing, TrackCams22.com, we thank them very much for really helping us out to enhance and emphasize these broadcasts that we do here, especially here for Season 5 of the NASCAR Series, powered by Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue. So, with all that being said, it's time for the good old, for the first time here in the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup Playoffs, TrackCams22.com, crank it up. So that was the TrackHams22.com Crank It Up. Again, we very much appreciate TrackHams22.com for their collaboration with us here for Season 5 of the NASCAR Series, powered by Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue. And right back here at the action on lap 140 of 183 in the Rampage Coffee Co. 200 at Darlington Raceway, the first race of the round of 12 for the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup Playoffs. We've been seeing it here, Jordy, here. We saw it all across the Crank It Up right there. These two, the 0 and the 17, just cannot get away from each other.
Yeah, but they're getting away from everybody else. That's their ultimate objective. And, again, perhaps not entirely unexpected, it has to be said. Especially, playoff opener here. And guys, again, kind of getting reacclimated to Darlington. You would think that the guys with the higher I ratings would step up, and certainly, that's proven to be the case here so far. And, I don't really have a reason to suspect that changing at the moment.
Yikes.
Okay, yeah, there's just a wee bit of damage being repaired, perhaps.
So, again,
6-minute range.
We've been in all this discussion here about the playoffs, but Justin Belmonte currently in 3rd. The next best driver not in the playoffs is back in 11th. So the number 6 Ford is certainly going to have a big advantage in the best of the rest challenge points going into Watkins Glen.
Assuming everything holds as expected, yes.
Yes, of course.
Because obviously there's still some racing to be done.
Yeah, it's like you put in those two, I don't know what you call it on the keyboard. It's under the number 8. For me, at least. The star.
Oh, yeah. The asterisk.
Yeah, the asterisk. And then you say, you see it on, like, entry lists for races. Subject to change.
Yes. Yeah, you could not be more right about that.
Looks like the 17 has lost a bit of ground here on the 0. It wouldn't surprise me at all if there was a bunch of wall contact there that didn't help him. We did see him get into the wall there a couple of times during the Crank It Up, if my memory serves correctly. So 7/10 or so separating him and the 0 now, as they are starting to catch some lap traffic here very soon. Meanwhile, as you said earlier, they're trying to get away from everybody else. Belmonte at almost 3.5 seconds behind them. And then you have a 4-car melee here from 4th through 7th.
Yeah, and you got 2 Tornado Alley guys there with Ireland and Ford sandwiched in the middle. So, you see it kind of playing out on track here now. And obviously everyone will be aware that it's playoff drivers around them, so just making sure that they remain sensible while, retaining just the right amount of aggression there as well. Because every point is vital.
Yep, there could be one singular point in any of these playoff races that could determine who makes it to the championship Ford Homestead Miami Speedway on August 20th, which, it's hard to believe that in 11 days we're going to be 1 month away from concluding the season.
Yeah, and we'll be short 2 playoff drivers by that point as well.
Indeed.
Yeah, everything's happening. Well, I mean, I don't want the trademark gods to come after me. Everything's happening fast and furious at the moment.
I personally, I'm just hoping we don't have one of those moments where it's like one of these guys are leading the race and then they try to pass a lap car on the inside, like exiting a corner, and then we see a deflection happen. It's trauma flashbacks to Jimmy Johnson in 2020.
I mean, yeah, like these things can happen. You really hope they don't, though. It's just a matter of keeping everything on the straight and narrow from the competitive side of things as much as anything else.
So most of these drivers have reached a stint of 30 laps. Oh, man, as I was talking about that earlier with lap traffic, Andy Hurdle getting into the outside wall there as Kalinian was trying to pass. Thank goodness nothing happened there.
Well, yeah, there are different ways to get out of the way here. That is for sure, as Ireland makes his way up to third.
Ireland has finally made his way past the number 6 of Justin Belmont.
Yep.
No, that was right. I'm just thinking, did. Okay, no, now, okay, my memories come back alive. And the pit, I was talking about the 30 lap stints there. Here we go.
All right, and 32 now remaining in the race. So we'll have to see. Like 32 seems like it should be comfortable in the fuel window. No, it doesn't seem like guys will run out at that point.
So Kalinian's coming down now.
Yeah, race leader checks in. But yeah, this is the one you got to get right here, because obviously a mistake in this final green flag stop would be catastrophic.
So 4 tires for Belmonte and Wilson. Darcy Ford has come down, so it's Kalinian, very close to Tomlinson.
Yeah, just keep it clean there, boys.
Kalinian's going to go for 4.
Again, you'd have to think that everyone has saved that set for this particular final stint.
Higginbottom took 4.
Wondering about.
Kyle, Noel, and Charlie Sears have made their way down. Sears is 17 laps down. Noel is 1 lap down at the moment. There's Corbin McCauley pitting from the race lead.
Yeah, that would get him, what'd that be, 1 extra lap or 2? I guess Kalinian 1 lap down, so probably just the 1. No, it might be 2.
It'd be, I think it's 2, because Kalinian pitted. Kalinian pitted 2 laps earlier.
Okay, so if you're fighting, 2 laps fresher tires at the end is a little bit of a reverse there from McCauley in his pit box.
Jared Ireland making his way down.
Yeah, Mangrum aside, this will complete the cycle.
Yeah, basically this window is just a matter of don't speed.
Yes. Yeah, that is the critical mission here. And now Mangrum's in.
Ireland took 4 tires. Mangrum's now in. I think, judging by the math, I think everybody should make it unless we get a series of cautions.
Yeah,
maybe.
First, the cautions would obviously help any fuel-related window. You wouldn't burn quite as much. But, yeah, I would say if it's green, I think everyone's pretty well good the rest of the way.
Yeah, pretty much every playoff driver took 4 tires. I mean, why wouldn't you?
I mean, that's why you saved the set in stages 1 and 2 to have it available now.
And so after all that cycled out, Jordan Kalinian, go figure, in the race lead, 2.2 seconds ahead of the 17. It doesn't look like many positions have really changed. It's just right back to the same old stuff. Kalinian's first, McCauley second, Belmonte third. Actually, Belmonte's gotten ahead of Ireland now, again. Wilson fifth, Higginbottom sixth, Darcy Ford in seventh, C.D. Mangrum in eighth, Kyle Noel at 1 lap down, so is Mike Marini. And then meanwhile, of course, that's all the playoff drivers right there that are safe thus far. Meanwhile, the 32, 41, and the 7 17, 18, and 18 laps down.
Yeah, you might say the positions haven't changed. However, the gaps are bigger than they were.
Yeah, the gaps have definitely changed.
Because, again, it was like pretty tight between Kalinian and McCauley before Kalinian came into pit lane first. But yeah, now you see the gap over 2 seconds, or at least it was. We'll see what the old potato vision delay shows me. But yeah, we're still very much at that point, and obviously the flip between Belmonte and Ireland happened as well. So that's, you're talking at least a 4 to 5 second swing on track.
Now, we were talking earlier about drivers from 4th through 7th being basically like you could put them right under a blanket. You still got that for 5th through 7th with Wilson, Higginbottom, and Ford right now.
Yep.
Within about a second or so gap of each other.
Yeah, not even that much.
Yeah. So I'd say at this point, this is probably... It's just going to come down to who's going to be able to have slightly better tire wear till the end, unless something happens. Something.
Yeah,
I'm just going to say something.
Yeah, the something that somehow we haven't seen to this point.
Oh God, we're going to get another version of Phoenix, aren't we?
Oh man, in Kalinian's case, let's hope not. He was leading that one too.
In other news, our broadcast has now reached over 2 hours.
Yeah, I mean the 250s usually do.
The 250s?
Yeah, like the 250 race distance. Or 200. Whoops. Why? Well, I guess I was thinking Southern 500.
You know what?
I was thinking of.
I originally thought this was also 250 laps a while back. That's actually what it says on the website. I think I still haven't fixed that yet.
Okay. Yeah, I think I was thinking, Southern 500, cut that in half.
Yeah, it still says 250 on the website. It should be 200, so that's on me. But we do have 250-mile races at Bristol and Talladega.
Yeah, this one still feels long, though.
It's Darlington.
Yeah, that's true.
Darlington, we were talking about in the pre-race show there, and as the early laps are going on, it's one of the oldest, most challenging circuits on the NASCAR calendar. It's pretty much no matter how many laps the distance are, like no matter how many miles, how many laps, it all is. Darlington always still feels just bleh.
It's just one of those you kind of have to grind through as much as anything else.
It's basically just making sure you have the right strategies, the right tire wear. You don't garner any penalties. You don't get involved in any incidents. Of course, unfortunately, 3 of our playoff drivers have done just that. But we are starting to wind down towards the end of this one, despite talking about how long this one has felt. We are at 19 laps to go here in the Rampage Coffee Co 200, and it looks as though Jordan Kalinian is, at the moment, well on his way to his 5th win of the season and a ticket to the round of 10, but there still is time for the 17 to try and potentially catch up and make this yet again another battle for the ages between the 0 and the 17. It looks like the 17 is ever so slightly gaining.
He is, and the other thing you have to remember, McCauley came in a couple laps later.
Yes.
So
2 laps fresher tires.
Yeah, that's exactly the point. He might be able to claw some of that back unless this is the initial push to try and get him within striking distance, but might be a little early for that. But yeah, we'll see how things kind of shake out at the end.
On my timing screen, there is a thing of average pace, which it's certainly looking interesting in the direction of the number 17, who right now is kind of mixing around in the 1.6, 1.7 range, which it might have hit 1.5 there at one point, but At the moment, it's looking so far so good for the 0. As long as the 17 doesn't start getting a couple more Darlington stripes here, as Kalanian's going to get past Jason Butler there to put him at 6 laps down now with 16 laps to go, coming to 15. 8 cars left on the lead lap.
Yeah, and, just to peel back into the YouTube chat here, we are not, obviously we're not attempting to jinx this, Bryce, but, we hope for everything to be clean, quite obviously. But, now that guys are separated a little bit, we want a little bit of drama to come at the end of this.
It's funny, behind the scenes, Jared Ireland was joking around, asking, saying the one thing he wanted was the Elmo Fire meme, which translates to just an all-out melee, which if the drivers had patience, Talladega is in 3 weeks, or we could argue Bristol in 2 weeks. Pretty much the whole round of 10 is... You got tight short track racing in a little a dome or whatever, Coliseum at Bristol, and then you got the widest thing ever at the supposedly cursed Talladega Superspeedway, which the finishes we got there last year when we did the 2 races there in season 4. It's self-explanatory.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
No, I say, I was agreeing with you, essentially.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
As we were talking about all that, the 64 just got past the 97 for 6, so that's a couple extra points there for him if he's able to hang on. Again, that gap between the 0 and the 17, it's just ever so slightly closing every single lap, although simultaneously it seems like it's going back and forth.
It is, for sure. And, again, I think the biggest thing is just keeping it, that 5-letter word clean from here on. And not trying to completely ignore the prediction from, one of our colleagues in the YouTube chat regarding, yellow flags.
Yeah, we're a couple laps away if we feel like we want to have a prediction correct.
Yeah. And I mean, at that point, if it did happen, you'd be on kind of the precipice of the green-white checkered finish. Maybe you'd need another lap or 2 to get there.
And there goes the 7th. All 3 cars and the shot there getting into the wall. Yeah, McCauley's starting to now fall back a little more. Gets into the wall again.
That was a heavier top.
He dropped down to as far as 1.9. So that's a lot better there for the number 0. Looking through the rest of the field here. The 64 and the 97 are still going at it here for the 6th position. Bryce, with your prediction, are you saying that these two possibly get together?
I was going to say there was no specification on who was going to have something happen, but decent, close racing there between 2 former Earl Ross Cup champions, with Higginbotham eventually taking 6th place back.
And of all drivers to possibly get together, knowing them.
Yeah, and I mean, they're 2 of the fairest drivers you'll see in the series as well. There's no question about, the integrity or commitment there, obviously. So, they'll race each other hard, but it'll be fair, 100 out of 100 times.
So 7 laps to go in the Rampage Coffee Co. 200. Jordan Kalanian well on his way into booking himself into the round of 10 at Bristol and Talladega. Feel to fear no drama at Watkins Glen next week, as that gap between him and the 17 is now starting to severely distance itself. Now 2.5 seconds back is the number 17. 6 laps to go. The Salisbury, North Carolina native looking for his 5th win of the season.
Yeah, there's enough time for that to be semi-alarming. I don't know if there's been more contact along the way or what happened, but yeah, 2.5 seconds, that feels pretty well insurmountable unless that tide turns like now.
And again, we know McCauley is a guy who loves to win no matter the circumstances, but judging by the points, we could probably say we can probably fairly assume that he's moving on. My gosh, he is.
Oh yeah.
At this point, he's just trying to have some fun with the stripes.
Yeah, he'll be more than fine. And yeah, we'll be able to very safely lock him into the round of 10 once he hits this checkered flag.
Jared Ireland, Justin Belmonte are going at it for the third position here. This could be a couple good extra points for the number 13.
Yeah.
And he clears them.
And yeah, much needed for the 13 there, it has to be said. And again, I mentioned it earlier, he seemed to be the guy that, would have benefited from this reset more than anyone, since he was basically there by virtue of that Kansas win. But, fresh slate, good run here tonight, and, he finds himself right back in the conversation.
2.5 laps to go. Jordan Kalinian getting closer and closer to taming the Lady in Black here at the virtual Darlington Raceway. Now down to 2 laps to go. And even whenever he's not running the regular scheme, it doesn't matter what livery he's in. Perfection is there.
Everyone else is just watching.
We could very well be previewing the guy that could be well on his way to getting his name on the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup, but of course we still got 6 weeks left to decide. That's still very early on here in these playoffs. White flag is out, final lap in the Rampage Coffee Co 200 for Jordan Kalinian.
Yeah, and I mean, you see where that gap is now. It's just, keep it in your comfortable groove here, and, that 00's taken victory number 5.
Yes, indeed. It's going to be victory number 5 and a ticket to the round of 10 in the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup Playoffs. The number 0, Jordan Kalinian from Salisbury, North Carolina, wins at Darlington.
And again, it has to be said, well deserved there. 59 out of a possible 60 points here tonight. The guy that everyone was kind of looking at as being, one of 2 co-favorites. And, he's been on a good run lately, so not necessarily a surprise to see him take this one, but yeah, just, that little bit of the weight off as he gets himself into the next round by virtue of the win.
Is it just me, or did it sound like you almost fell out of your chair?
No, there was a door open behind me.
Ah.
Yeah, that's what that was. I was going to say, certainly not falling out of the chair in any form of surprise.
Sarcastic surprise.
Yeah, we'll go with that. But no, all good here.
Good to know.
And certainly, again, all good with our race winner, the way things have turned out for him.
Right up close to the fans when you climb out of the car and woohoo.
Yeah, I mean, they're nobody's left yet, so that's helpful. Okay, well, I guess that gives me an opportunity to go back, and we will see.
I'll figure out what
everything. I'll figure out what things kind of look like math-wise here to give kind of an unofficial look.
Yeah, you happily do. You. I will happily let you do all the math.
Yep.
I will do the journalism.
I mean, semi-ouch, but that's fine. I mean, but also fair. But I mean, I can kind of help.
You'll do your part in sending off some questions because, of course, the only way where we can fortunately have you involved is if the 17 wins. So you'll have to wait another week for that.
Well, I mean, that's not entirely true. You could invite them into this control room.
Fair point.
But that's something to figure out later.
Indeed. So, you can send off those questions, and I'll get into this post-race winner interview here with the number 0 Toyota of Jordan Kalinian, and I would highly suggest that you quickly send the questions because knowing a guy like Kalinian, he loves his fast answers, and I don't blame him one bit.
I mean, he's been fast with everything else tonight, so why not?
Exactly, just kind of keeping it fast and furious everywhere.
Absolutely.
Bryce Fontaine was under a tornado watch this whole time? Jeez.
Yeah, that certainly changes the outlook a little bit. But glad he's safe, first and foremost.
Exactly.
Yes.
All right. Let's see if we can get a talk with the man here in Victory Lane, or well, not literally, but it
Okay, Elmer Fudd. Or, no, it's no, not Elmer Fudd. Porky Pig. That's who I'm going for.
Yeah, Victory Lane's in the infield, but this is our way of doing it. So
yeah.
Anyways,
Jordan.
Mr. Jordan Kalinian, do we have a copy?
I hear you.
I hear you too, buddy. The number 0 Toyota from Salisbury, North Carolina goes to Victory Lane for the 5th time this season here in Season 5 of the NASCAR Series, powered by Kyle's Fried Chicken and Barbecue. Jordan Kalinian, you have booked your ticket into the round of 10. Certainly the drama that we'll see at Watkins Glen, you will... there'll be no pressure on you whatsoever, so I bet that's relieving.
Yeah, that's great. Get to go to Watkins Glen and just have fun. It's a fun track and one that I've been looking forward to.
We're all certainly looking forward to it. Just talk about the your performance here tonight, what the Darlington Raceway was able to provide for you and the rest of your competitors here. I mean, you and Corbin McCauley had a couple of close run-ins there fighting for the lead. Certainly your defensive game was really good. You were able to block him off from making any potential passes there and such. So I'll just talk about the overall night and how everything was able to play in your favor.
Yeah, stage one was pretty difficult. Started there with the lead, and then just after a little bit, the track started changing with the sun going down, and I really didn't have a handle on the track, so it took me a little bit to get that. Stage two worked pretty well for me. I know Corbin had that speeding penalty, which definitely helped me out a little bit. It was unfortunate for him. But after that, just kind of found my groove and figured out how to save the tires, and was just able to save them till the end and got me to the win.
And now again, you keep up this momentum, especially again after entering the playoffs and entering tonight's race as the leader in points by just 1 point over McCauley. Just talk about all that momentum going into the playoffs and what it means to continue it onward here going into the rest of this round and just into the rest of the playoffs in general.
Yeah, the momentum's definitely helps. Gives you a lot of confidence going into these tracks. Winning at Rockingham last week, these two tracks really, they kind of race pretty similar with how the tires fall off and even the line into 1 and 2. So that was a big help, and hoping it continues throughout the season.
Absolutely, and now it seems like it doesn't matter what livery you put on. You're just fast and furious. You're fast and furious no matter what. I believe it was Kyle Knoll that was able to put this together here for you. But yeah, no matter the look, you're fast.
Yeah, Mr. Noel put on this great paint scheme for me. Really appreciate it from him, and I think it looks great. And happy to be able to put it in Victory Lane on the first run.
And now, obviously, you're not going to have much pressure moving forward into next week's race at Watkins Glen International. But despite obviously being locked into the round of 10, how do you look forward to next week's race and perhaps try to go for 3 wins in a row?
Yeah, definitely. Watkins Glen's one of my favorite road courses, so being able to go there without the pressure of having to mess around with the playoff points, and that's going to be really exciting. I'm really looking forward to that one and hoping to keep it going.
Jordy Carraher finally got a question to me here, and very good timing based on what I was going to ask next. Considering you are now locked into the round of 10, where really the tracks are just going to get tougher and tougher. Jordy puts it this way: that the tough tracks are on the horizon. You're locked into the next round, which features races at Bristol Motor Speedway and Talladega Super Speedway, short track racing, super speedway racing. Like, the way Jordy asked it was, now that you've got time to breathe going into the round of 10, how does your preparation change knowing that the tough tracks are knowing the tough tracks that are on the horizon?
I think for a lot of them, I can really just fall back on my experience. I've got a lot of experience at Bristol. It's another one of my favorite tracks. Really fun to get around there. Talladega is the one that scares me a little bit, just because it's really unpredictable and there's really not much you can do if you get involved in the big one. So just head to there and hope you make it through.
Yep, that's certainly going to be the mindset of everybody going into that one. But just to conclude this off, who would you like to thank for being able to come on out here every Tuesday night and get the job done?
Just appreciate the league and all the sponsors for putting this on, and all the competitors for keeping it clean. It's been fun.
Very, couldn't be more truer with those words right there. But with all that being said, that was the number 0 Toyota Jordan Kalinian from Salisbury, North Carolina, getting the win here tonight at the virtual Darlington Raceway in the Rampage Coffee Co. 200, the first race of the round of 12. He has booked his ticket into the round of 10 at Bristol and Talladega. Congratulations, Jordan, and perhaps we'll be talking to you once again next week. 3 wins in a row at Watkins Glen. Fingers crossed. Best of luck.
Thank you.
And so there you have it there from the number 0 Jordan Kalinian, as now we'll get through the rest of the field here. Unofficial results from tonight's event at the virtual Darlington Raceway. Of course, Jordan Kalinian getting the victory. Corbin McCauley finishing in second. Kalinian has won his way into the next round with the win. McCauley, at this point, we could probably safely assume he makes it in on points. We'll say that with the assumption that in the scenario that he doesn't win at Watkins Glen, but if he does win, then, well, there you go. Kalinian and McCauley make it in on wins. But, of course, we'll wait and see what happens at Watkins Glen next week for our first race there in quite some time. Jared Ireland rounding out the podium, as we were talking about earlier, Jordy. Man, oh man, the inconsistency and such, and just everything that he had been going throughout the regular season. This was the fresh reset that he absolutely needed, and a podium finish was able to certainly certify that. Justin Belmonte finishing in the 4th position certainly has made himself the number 1 contender for the Best of the Rest challenge after, in heartbreaking circumstances, missing the playoffs 2 weeks ago at Rockingham. Adam Wilson rounds out the top 5. Solid performance by him, and the same can be said for Ty Higginbottom and Darcy Ford. C.D. Mangrum rounding out the lead lap cars there in the 8th position. Definitely, for someone like Mangrum, a finish probably less than desirable for his standards and his expectations, but he'll be looking to rebound at Watkins Glen next week, and he's still solid in points, so as long as he starts next week's race and finishes with some solid points, then he'll be well on his way into the round of 10, where, again, Talladega Super Speedway, he won the playoff race there last year, so if he makes it through just fine, then that race will be, that trophy will be waiting for him to grasp it once again. Kyle Nolan, Mike Marini, more playoff drivers rounding out the top 10. And getting through the rest of the field here, Jason Heaney finishes 11th. Tom Janikowski, yet again, with another top 12 or 13 finish. He's gotten plenty of those within the past couple of weeks. Jason Butler finishing in 13th. Not going to lie, that's a pretty solid finish for the number 10 car that has had some struggles throughout his time in the regular season. Mark Roulette 14th. Mason Tomlinson rounding at the top 15. We saw him, I believe, if I go back to the qualifying results, he He qualified 5th, and he was running up there in the top 5 and the top 10. It looked like he was very much pace-wise on his way to a potential solid finish and be in the running for the Best of the Rest Challenge Cup, of course. But then we saw that early incident there, contact with Jose Mercado. And then, of course, speaking of Mercado, you got him, Charlie Sears, and Andy Hurdle. That's 3 playoff drivers mired with trouble here in tonight's race. They were still all able to finish here tonight, 18, 18, and 19 laps down, but it's certainly going to make things interesting points-wise going into next week's race at Watkins Glen. Thing is, too, ironically, Sears and Hurdle, we know their road course prowess. We've seen it. We're going to Watkins Glen next week. It's a big opportunity coming up for them. Do we still have you, Jordy?
Sorry, I was muted. The point I was making was tonight's result didn't hurt Andy Hurdle as much as it hurt Charlie Sears. Sears finds himself now on the outside looking in playoff-wise. He is 5 back of Mike Marini, who made the jump with his solid run here tonight. But Andy Hurdle drops to 9th as a result of tonight's finishes, but still pretty comfortable right now. He's got 14 points between himself and Charlie Sears. I see you just open up the spreadsheet. Look at the raw data tab to get the updated numbers. I got to figure out the formatting on the main sheet, but yeah, that's what it looks like right now. Of course, Kalinian locked in. Corbin McCauley, 68-point gap. Yes, you can officially lock him in. So that's 2 spots effective. Well, 2 spots in the round of 10 locked up. 3 and 4 there, I believe, will be, Higginbotham and Ireland. 37-point gap between them and, 11th place. That should feel fairly academic for those 2 as well. And again, I may not 100% have that one right. Stay tuned here. But yes, we know Macaulay's locked in, or Kalinian and Macaulay are locked in for sure. And yes, I believe, I did screw something up. So you'll have to wait for the official results, folks. I kind of got tongue-tied a little bit here, I think.
Yeah, again, we'll have the official race results and playoff standings, Best of the Rest Challenge standings, all within the upcoming days, all across our social media platforms as per usual. But Jordy, that was the Rampage Coffee Co 200 here at the Track Too Tough to Tame, the virtual Darlington Raceway in Darlington, South Carolina. We saw a couple of incidents play out throughout the race. A lot of drivers claiming some Darlington stripes on the right sides of their cars. And yeah, despite some of those incidents, besides the stage cautions, caution-free. Which certainly does not align with a whole lot of expectations that drivers had going into tonight's race.
Yeah, I was going to say, am I still here, first of all?
You're still good.
Okay, yeah, because the connection kind of threw me off again a little bit there, like it did at the end of stage 1, beginning of stage 2. But
just hurry up while you can.
yeah. Still, I guess the main point is there's still a lot to fight for guys, from third down effectively is how I'm looking at it. Like there's a couple of guys that they'll feel fairly safe, but you still gotta be in it to gotta be here to have a shot, essentially, is what I'm getting at.
Absolutely. And now might as well take a look here at the rest of the schedule moving forward for the rest of the playoffs. So that was here tonight on Tuesday, July 9th at Darlington Raceway. On the right side of the screen is where you should be looking. Next week on Tuesday, July 16th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 8:30 p.m. Atlantic, we will begin live coverage at the Watkins Glen International for the Rampage Coffee Co. 110, where we will determine those that will make it through to the round of 10, and also that'll be the race where we find out who gets to win the free Rampage Coffee Co. coffee bundle, which pretty much every single or 9 of the 12 playoff drivers will be eligible for that. So guys like Jordan Kalini and Corbin McCauley, Ty Agabon, a bunch of other guys there will certainly be eligible to go for it. Pretty much the highest finishing driver of the top 10 finishers here tonight will be eligible. It's the highest finisher that goes on to win the bundle. And so next week, Jordy, we go to Watkins Glen for the first time in quite some time. Haven't been there since, I believe, 2022, I believe.
Yeah, well, I mean, that would just mean we didn't do it last year.
Yeah.
But
yeah, how you... Sorry.
Yeah, no, I just had to think that one through. Yeah, obviously a lot to look forward to, throwing a road course into the end of the round of 12. Yeah, again, we talked about Andy Hurdle and Charlie Sears earlier, a couple of guys who've proven to be really strong on the road courses. For Sears especially, I think it's a bit of a do or die situation potentially happening there. Hurdle, again, has more of a gap than we would think. But, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see, this particular sect of parity coming through here. And, typically road courses, they have spread out a little bit in the past, but obviously we remember how Monza finished up. I think, within this, overall field of 12 that we've got chasing the Earl Ross Cup, I think Jordan Kalini and Corbin McCauley, of course, they're the only two who can kind of breathe a little bit. For the other 10, it's still very much game on.
Absolutely. Maybe I have that gut feeling that Charlie Sears will do like a Shane Van Gisbergen, perhaps.
Well, Xfinity or NASCAR?
Xfinity or Cup, you mean?
Yes. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. I guess I'm getting back to my, whatchamacallit, thinking back to Alberta time zones, maybe?
Okay. Yeah, no,
my brain's just off.
I get you. But, yeah, for Jordan Kalinian, he won't have to worry until Bristol and Talladega on July 23rd and July 30th, of course. But what is coming up next, of course, next Tuesday, July 16th, is the elimination race for the round of 12 here in the 5th annual Earl Ross Cup Playoffs. The Rampage Coffee Co. 110 takes place at Watkins Glen International for our second-to-last road course race of the season. Chicago will be the last one there, technically a street course, on August 6th. So we will find out who will fill out the rest of the playoff grid for the round of 10 at Bristol and Talladega next week at Watkins Glen. So that was, once again, the Rampage Coffee Co. 200 here at the virtual Darlington Raceway. We appreciate everybody that tuned into tonight's live production of Canadian eMotorsports Network NASCAR action here on iRacing. On behalf of Jordy Carraher, my fellow color commentator, who it will be valid that he is back in Alberta next week.
Yes.
Right? Yes. So Jordy Carraher, who's been here since the very beginning, of course, the rest of the competition committee within the Canadian Motorsports Network, all other drivers, staff, sponsors, partners, blah, blah, blah. My name is Regan McCauley, your play-by-play guy from Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island. Once again, we thank each and every one of you for tuning in to tonight's action. Jordan Kalinian getting the win here at Darlington Raceway. We will see you all once again for more playoff action next week at Watkins Glen International. It will be round 17 of 22, the Rampage Coffee Co. 110 on Tuesday, July 16th here on the Canadian eMotorsports Network YouTube channel. So, thank you all very much, and speed safely.